Okay, so very good morning to everybody. We are live from New York. No, live from Barcelona. I've got Simon here with us again this morning,
Hello.
and we are going to proceed to. He waved.
I waved.
He waved.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. We're gonna. We are going to talk about some pretty good setups we have today, and then we're going to show a little bit of craziness. We're sitting on the top of a hotel in downtown Barcelona, doing a live session. We've got some great setups to talk about. We've got some great Barcelonan weather. It's actually cloudy and it rained, and we can see a big cathedral from here. So, which is pretty common in Barcelona, right? I think anywhere you are, you can see a big cathedral.
Cathedral, yeah.
They pretty much got that on lockdown. So, hola. So, yeah, we're going to discuss some setups here. So, real quick, just as a quick little reminder, as far as news goes, in the next hour and 10 or 20 minutes, we'll just kind of be here watching and we'll see how things pop up. But we've got UK employment numbers. Simon,
Sometimes.
you don't have a job in the UK necessarily, right?
No, I don't. So I'm technically unemployed, I assume.
Being a trader, I never really know where we fall on the radar. Are we considered employed? I don't really know, but
Well, for the tax man, I'm unemployed.
yeah, well, it works out good. So yeah, we'll see how the employment numbers do. That should be a big mover, and that should be pretty interesting because Simon is interested in trading pound CAD.
Yeah.
I'm interested in some pound New Zealand, and I'm a little less interested in the pound dollar today, and I'll discuss why that is. But
Just because I beat you up last night.
because Simon threatened me basically, he said if you talk about that pound dollar, it is over. So we'll talk about this crazy pound dollar and what that's doing. And so we've got some good stuff. So first off, who's in EuroCAD and who is loving EuroCAD and who's hating EuroCAD? What do you guys think about this EuroCAD? We had just to clarify. So Chris and I discussed this before the session, and then he does Tuesday and Thursday sessions on his own, so that I can make sure to get plenty of beach time in. And so I know we both agreed before and after the session, but I'm not 100% sure what was said during the session on the EuroCAD. But I did post a chart. All right, in a break even. Okay, sounds excellent. So I did post a chart in the chat about. Did everybody see that, by the way? The chart about getting an additional position on EuroCAD at this breakout. I've actually readjusted trend lines, but I posted this little trend line right here and said, watch this guy. Oh, let's see. I think it was quite a bit more straight up. It was kind of a crazy looking trend line. So do you guys remember this? This was from yesterday. Said, look for this breakout, which was right around 14800. Did everybody get a good Tom's not excited about it. Tom, it's like midnight where you are, so the only thing you should be excited about is making it to bed eventually. But I love this trade. I think it's super fantastic. That little breakout that happened right here was awesome. So we had our original entry at 147.30. That pending order, it ran up to 148 and change. And then I posted watch for this break of the trend line here, which gave us, another additional entry right around 14800. So I'm in at 147.30 and I'm in at 14800. And so I'm basically sitting right at break even between my winning position and my losing position. But you're in this, Simon?
Yes, I'm in it 4730, 4765, and 4800.
Okay, so you got three positions on here.
Three positions going.
Which I think is totally fantastic. Let me.
Obviously, they are small positions, and
Simon said he was going easy on this one, just going to go in $50 a pip on every position. So he's currently no problem. How do you feel about this trade? What do you think?
It ran up. It obviously broke the highs that we thought where to get in. It ran up, but as I said yesterday, I was completely fine with it because it's such a high percentage trade back to the 200 EMA, that you can, it's manageable because you can, because your target is easily shown on the chart, so you can, work out how to get back. And as you're showing, the bar count is just off the charts. So 454, wow,
That's
that's
that's pretty good.
and your additional trade obviously really helps that, because I think we'll be pretty close to 4730 when it eventually comes down. And if it does go back up again, then I will sell it again at the highs again.
I absolutely will too.
No.
You put it very nicely, because these trades are so, the probabilities of them working is the highest of anything I've ever seen. So, my legal disclaimer is they're amazing, but you could lose your whole entire life. But they are. I don't ever think about these trades. I don't ever debate with myself about getting into them. It's not a question. I take them when they set up, because I will literally bet every one of these trades to some degree or another will make me some money. But it's all about the management, right? So that's why we said, and it's right here in the middle of the chart, starting with the half trade size. If it moves higher, we're gonna put another one on there. And I don't trade these with stop losses, because this will move 30 or 40 pips against us, or 100 pips against us, and whichever one that is, I'm pretty okay with. So this one moved against us, 80 pips or so, and and that's
which did, which was a little bit more than I was expecting. So.
It definitely went a little higher than anticipated, but again, if this is a bit more of a volatile pair, we don't see that happen quite as much on on dollar pairs or some of these others, but this Euro CAD, pound CAD, these guys move a little bit more. So,
with it running away, it just increased the chances of it coming back to the 200 EMA, because it actually helped the average pip.
Yep.
And the max pip. So.
Yep. It improved the max pip. It improves the bar count. It just just everything gets just gets better. When these actually run against us. This is why once again I said I like when these trades go against me, because I get to add another position and they just get higher probability the further against us they go, and they never go. It's not like this is going to be the start of a major trend. We're at 400 bars. It's going to have to pull back at least,
especially not on the 15-minute chart, because
exactly. It's not it's pretty safe to say that it's not going to go 600 or 700 bars against us, or 8 or 9. It could, but
thanks, Rick, Jared. Thanks for completely jinxing that. So.
Unless we have the European central bank saying. Just
stop.
Kidding.
Please.
Everything's great.
Just stop.
Interest rates are going to 5% tomorrow. I always got to put the disclaimers out there. But no, this trade's totally great. So in a worst case scenario here, our 147.30, we'll get to break even. If nobody added to this trade, then you should be able to get out with 3 or 4 or 5 pips. That's the worst case scenario that I see right now. If everybody was able to add to this, which it sounded like a lot of people did, if everyone was able to add to this, then your first position should be in some pretty decent profit, or excuse me, your second position should be in pretty good profit, and your first position should be down about 35 pips. So basically, it sounds like most of you guys are at break even plus a couple of pips. And so all this needs to do is hit that 200 moving average. Everyone should be able to get out with, 30, 40, 50 pips. If it continues to drop, which I'm looking for it to do, then we should be able to make some good money. But if that first position is just break even and everyone got an entry at 14800 or thereabouts, I mean that's at least 70 pips to make on the trade.
And are you looking, once it's hit the 200, are you going to be out? Are you going to look see if it goes any lower, or do you think for this trade this is where it's going to go to?
So that is a very good question, and I think Vince actually brought this up. This is why I like to call this crowdsourcing, because you guys have so much good stuff to say. Yeah, Tom, that's true. That is true. So one interesting thing that Vince brought up is that what did Vince say? The weekly chart? Were you talking the weekly chart? I think it was kind of interesting because Vince said, look at this weekly chart. What's going on here? And I think it does look like a pretty good, interesting little setup. Weekly chart kind of is a big head and shoulders pattern. It's run up and it's made some head and shoulders action. It's at the top of a decent movement. Maybe we're making a very huge head and shoulders pattern. Like something making a right shoulder over here. But if we look, we probably see a little bit better on like a daily chart. So it kind of looks like we have a neckline and some trend line activity, and there might be some head and shoulders going on in there. So that's kind of interesting. I'm just keeping my eye on that. I think there's some possibilities there. Overall, I think it's euro short for the long term for me. So anyway, the long term chart has some interesting look to it. But I'm also looking at just this 1 hour chart in this channel. When it hits the 200 moving average, it's going to be testing the bottom of this channel. The bottom of the channel, area is about 147, 30, 40 area. I'm going to watch this. I don't want to get out of this trade too soon. The safe bet is, when it hits the 200 moving average, we'll be about break even on the first position and in very good profit on the second position. The safe thing is just take your profit and take your 70 pips and be done with the trade.
Yeah,
right.
I'm actually overall, short Euro CAD looking, but I don't think this 15-minute trade is the one that will get me in overall short. I think personally I will get out of everything
At the 200 moving average.
But if it breaks that channel, then I will re-enter from a higher time frame. I think from a different trade, a different analysis and different trade. So.
I think that's pretty great because you can just take your money and there will be plenty of pips. We don't hate 70 pips. I'm gonna try my best to be a little bit patient on this trade. I'll make sure to lock in some profit. I've got multiple positions as well, and I may do something crazy like close my first position at a couple of pips or at break even. And hold on to my larger, because I put a larger position in at the higher price anyway. So I started half, and then I actually doubled up on my 4,800 entry. So it gives me a little bit of...
So did I. That's really...
Did you really?
I did, yeah. I went half, and then full size at the top because I was just very confident that it would at least fall.
At least get some...
And I've moved to break even on my higher.
On the
4,800, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point, by the way. Anybody that's in that, that 4,800, move your stops, make sure you're locked in there and all that. But yeah, but I think that's great, and I did the same thing, and I've got a larger position up there, and I think get out of the kind of the crappier trade, not that it's crappier, the lower entry, that 147.30, get out of that, and I'm going to see if this thing can break for us because we still have a weekly pivot. And we've still got, at least a daily, two dailies and a weekly pivot down here that haven't been hit. So there's going to be at least a little bit more pressure for this thing to go a hair lower. So that is personally what I'll do. I'm going to close my 147.30 at break even or 1 or 2 pips profit, leave my 148.00 in there, and see if we can get this down just a little bit closer to like 146.50. Just see if we get another, 50, 60 pips, 70 pips out of that breakout. So, anyways, that's how I'm going to manage the trade.
I personally am just going to get out of everything around.
Just going to close it out?
Close out, and then I will re-look to re-enter short, maybe off the hour chart as you got there, or maybe the 4 hour. And as I mentioned yesterday, how I trade, I will wait for a confirmed breakout or a retest, and then I will get in, as you say, good trade management, normal size, a normal risk, and see what happens. And I will probably try and get that back down to the lows of a few days ago, I suppose it was. So,
that like 140, like 144.00.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. That's a good looking setup. I like the chart. I definitely like the chart. I think there's a nice little move there. This kind of has that feel right here of like, kind of just blew out all these positions. Maybe there was people shorting against the top. We had that huge shooting star, and then we just had that bullish engulfing to death candle. And it just kind of has that, like, clear the market out kind of a look to it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. For me, with the candle you just had on the previous chart, even though that's confirmed break above the highs, it just, I don't know, for me, it just doesn't look it just doesn't look like that's a continuation. Now I know technically it is, but yeah, I don't know. I would obviously I need confirmation to break out the channel, but I don't know. It just that chart looks to me like he's going to come back down.
Yep, yep,
So
yep. I agree. I agree. So yeah, so I think this looks good. So again, guys, worst case scenario, close everything out at 147.30. Which is right about where that 200 moving average will be. And best case scenario, we can hang on to this thing for a little bit longer, see if we can get a break of this shorter channel, and get another 40, 50, 60 pips out of this puppy. But I think it'll be a good trade. I'm going to try to hang in here as long as I can. It's such a tough one. It sure is, Vince. So
they all are, aren't they?
they all are. Every trade's a little bit of a battle of wits, but so I like that a lot. That's our active trade, obviously, and it looks great. We're going to talk about just a couple more here. Pound trades. I think pound trades are still cooking. Let me just bring up this guy real quick here. The pound New Zealand is kind of a sloppy mess for the moment. I'm not in anything pound New Zealand. I was watching this level, seeing if we get some closes, and it kind of gave us that, but it's just really, really choppy right there. We've got New Zealand movement happening, but we've also got some interesting, appears to be some pound weakness. And so it's kind of, who's weaker right now, New Zealand or pound, and it's a little bit of a battle. So I'm sitting out the pound New Zealand for the moment. I'm going to just kind of watch this stuff right here. Oops. I'm just going to kind of watch this little movement here and just look for some clean, a clean breakout. We are above a pretty important area, and honestly, I feel like this movement, and I feel like we've got enough, New Zealand weakness kind of setting up. This is just stalling at the 200 moving average a little bit. I because it's the pound New Zealand, it can move 500 pips in any direction really quickly. I'm going to be cautious with it, but I wouldn't hate just getting into this now and seeing how it goes. But I'm not going to do that because there's nothing really clean enough. But it's a I would say the chances. I would, if I were an options trader, I would bet the pound New Zealand in the next 30 days will be above. Will be above 18600 kind of a thing, or above 185 at least in the next few days, next week or so. So anyway, I think that one looks good, but I'm not in it yet. It's definitely not clean enough for an entry there. Pound almost same pattern. Any thoughts, pound New Zealand, Simon?
No, just very similar. I know it's retested the trend line, but the retest was so messy with such an indecision candle that I wouldn't have got in on that. So yeah, I think again a nice confirmed break above the highs, and I do think it's going to go up, but I need technically a bit cleaner, as you say, to get in it. So
yeah,
but I think it'll be a good trade.
Yeah, pound. The beautiful thing about pound New Zealand is it's pound New Zealand, pound yen. I'm trying to think of another pair. Pound New Zealand, pound yen just strike me as those pairs that you can make 1,000 pips on.
Oh,
like without a ton of effort. Like just with a little bit of patience, you can really those 2 pound pairs seem to just go like crazy.
well,
so
pound yen is my favorite pair.
it's my favorite too. When that thing has a clean entry, it's you just.
Oh, gate crasher.
We just got birds flying around up here. It's no problem. So yeah, so sidelines on pound New Zealand. Tom brought up pound Aussie. We've been talking about this one a little bit. And pound Aussie does look.
Yeah, he's right there. They're all very similar.
Yeah,
they're all double bottom ish.
Yeah, they're all kind of double bottomy. We have this is more of a kind of a oblongy head and shoulders pattern. And if that's the low, then and so this one kind of has a head and shoulders feel to it. I would probably adjust my trend line, and kind of start going for something along. I don't know. This needs a little more confirmation, but it does look head and shoulders. If you look at it like this, and we kind of do, some of that and some of that and that. It looks decent head and shoulders. But I don't. It's a sloppy. It's a little bit of a messy neckline, so I'm going to let this thing confirm a little bit more. But I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss this movement. I don't want to miss any of the pound movements. I think they're all. I think they're all headed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is worth kind of hanging out for just a little bit more, but not in anything yet here. Thoughts? Any thoughts?
No, similar to what you say. It's a bit elongated for me, so it seems a bit, as you say, messy. But yeah, it's difficult because we don't want to miss these trades.
The pound action.
So, I could quite easily see another little right shoulder come in before it goes again.
Yeah, maybe a bigger dip or something.
Yeah, but no. But as you know, I prefer the pound CAD.
Pound. And on that note, let's see some pound CAD. You like the pound CAD still above 76.20 area?
20 area.
So pound CAD looks interesting. If pound CAD, now here's one little thought on this. If pound CAD, if we do see more dips and more pushes, pound CAD actually kind of looks interesting for maybe one more sell before it starts to move. We've got some missed pivots and so on. This was a pretty nice little trend line. If we get one more dash of pound weakness, this is a pretty nice little trend line. We've retested a few times and found some good resistance up there. This little secondary area, I think we could see, very easily a nice little run just into that weekly pivot. Oh, my drawings are getting worse. Good heavens. I don't even know what that is. It's how to tie a bow. I mean, good grief. So that looks horrible, but a nice little break. Anywhere that pushes down, there's 120 or so pips to that weekly pivot. I don't think that would be a hard move at all to get down there. And there's a missed daily pivot right there as well. I didn't even notice that. So I think a quick 100 pip dip on this one before it starts breaking higher looks pretty interesting. So
and the few things for me. The reason I prefer this to the other ones, obviously the other ones are still look like they will be great trades, but I think the double bottom is better off the I think it's the weekly or daily chart, and then the other ones, because it's in a bit of a choppy mess at the moment. The other ones are in choppy mess right at where you'd want to get in, where for me this one's in choppy mess just below where I'd like to get in. So when they do eventually break higher, which I believe they will, I think it would be a better trade on the pound CAD rather than, say, the pound New Zealand, the pound Aussie, because the mess is, as you say, for me, exactly where I'd like to be now trading. Where here, it's not there yet. So I can have choppy mess below my level, and then it can break out, and I feel a bit more confident.
That's a good point. Okay. Choppy mess before the entry as opposed to choppy mess at the entry.
Where you want to be, yeah. So, and then I would ask you a question just on the trading front. So, for example, with the pound CAD, would you be a fade trader, basically? Would you trade it back down and then trade it back up? Where personally, I would let it go down and then I would trade it back up. I just wondered if you'd try and get both sides of that personally.
So this one, I actually kind of like this a little bit. We've seen what I always like to do. This isn't something I've talked about a ton, and I'm glad you brought this up. I haven't talked about it a ton recently, but I have talked about it a ton, which is I want to just make sure I have a good feel for what's moving, pound or CAD. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me. I won't edit that out, by the way, because it's somewhere lost in this recording. So, if we see a day, for example, where Canadian pairs are moving, we got some good Canadian strength, and the pound seems to either be doing nothing or even showing some weakness, then I will totally take that trade. That's the other thing that determines breakouts for me is where's the strength, where's the weakness. I don't like to trade just breakouts to trade breakouts. I want to know if there's strength or weakness, or there's something else, a 200 moving average or something else that's helping that breakout happen. And so in this case, we have a clean enough trend line right here. It's a nice little channel below a fairly well-respected previous trend line. And so if we have a little bit of Canadian strength and or some pound weakness, I will totally take that down and try to grab 50 to 100 pips out of that. And then, and then look at either buying that dip or buying the upward movement. So yeah, I would take this out either way, both ways. Yeah, absolutely. And I think those nice upper movements are going to be good. Yeah. So where would the CAD strength come from, or is it? Yeah, either one. CAD strength, pound weakness, either one. Yep.
I personally don't look at the weakness. I think it was. I started to look. Was Chris introduced me to? You know, he had his. I can't remember the name of the website, but it had all the indicator, all
Currency
the
strength.
trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, obviously, I'm a technical trader. It confused me, just because I would just get too focused in. I'll be like, oh, the New Zealand's got strength. Oh, but not against the CAD. Oh, against the. It just got me, spun me out basically.
It didn't jive.
Yeah, just because it's not uniform.
Yeah.
So I just went back to looking at the technicals. But you know, I think it is a good added feature to have a general look at, maybe. But
Totally. And I definitely don't disagree with you on that. I don't use the currency strength meter index thing chart. I don't use that one so much. What I actually like to do is I like to look at every individual pair. And so what
Okay.
I'll do with that is I'll look at like all the pound pairs and all the CAD pairs. And you know, I'm looking just, you know, sometimes I'll look at them quickly and just see, is there like bullish setups across the board on pound pairs or bullish setups across the board on CAD pairs. You know, so an example of this would be New Zealand, right? So New Zealand dollar came off that top of that big channel. New Zealand CAD is coming off the top of a huge quadruple top.
Yeah.
New Zealand yen is doing nothing. You know, so we have multiple New Zealand pairs that are at these huge like bearish setups, and so now we can say, all right, and so now, you know, and pound New Zealand is starting to break out of this bullish channel. So everything is pointing towards New Zealand weakness, even though maybe we haven't 100%. Actually, we've seen some decent New Zealand weakness, but we haven't seen like massive pushes on New Zealand weakness yet. But it's like fairly well confirmed, I think. And so I prefer to look at, you know, do we have setups?
the overall picture rather than
Yeah, instead of because if you're looking at the currency indicator, you're thinking you have to like, okay, get the trade.
Well, I don't know if you remember
Pull the
in the chat that I think it was in the Aussie pairs, and I picked the one Aussie pair. Everyone were going up apart from the one I picked, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Why?
So that's why I was
Why?
like, "Okay, let's just go back to what I do normally. Let's stop looking at that."
Well, totally, and so I definitely can see how they, you know, the chart can be a little confusing on that. So my recommendation to you and Simon and to everybody is look at the setups. Look at the setups more than just the actual strength. We have a bunch of bearish setups, a bunch of bullish setups, and that can really point you kind of in the right direction. Okay, so pound pairs. So we're pretty well prepared for this pound business. Let's jump over to. I'm happy for Simon.
No.
I'm sad for me. Aussie dollar, US dollar.
Aussie dollar.
So Aussie, oh, and it just keeps moving for you.
It's amazing.
Did you call Australia and tell them? Vince, have you heard any calls coming in from England? What's going on here?
Come on, that's 3 weeks of patience for me. Come on, that's how we hanging in.
3 weeks of hanging in there, which has paid off very nicely. So and good for you, because this is a very nice trade. You know, as we talked about yesterday, I would love, for my own purposes and for all of our purposes here, to see this take out that weekly daily pivot combo and then start heading down. But it doesn't look like it wants to do that. It pulled back. It did pull back, you know, 30 or 40 pips, and then it's just starting to break down again. Now, what do we have today? Australian. Do we have something?
Employment.
So there is,
which really confused me. It was 6:30 on your chart, but I assume that's Pacific time. Completely whacked out what time it is.
So I have to keep Pacific time because I never know what time zone. Traveling here, we're just every time's a different time zone, and oh man, so I always have to look at my. I'm always converting, and then I got to think about Chris's time zone, Eastern time. So I'm lost completely. But we do have Australian employment numbers. I feel like this could do something.
But it will definitely get me out of my trade because I'll be flat for that. I'm not. I can't do another retracement up. I can't cope. So.
The stress is
too much.
No bueno. So if Australia has some numbers that look interesting, we have come off this channel very excellently well.
Yeah, 21st of August I entered that trade.
Why do I keep losing this channel? Have you snuck into my charts and deleting something here? This channel keeps disappearing. So they're oh.
That was my. I know you can't see my screen, but I'm just showing my trade of where I got in.
Oh, that looks great. What was that? 76.27 ish.
Yeah.
Oh nice. That's excellent. And so here we are, 75. Oh, the time frame's so big I can't even. Here, I guess I can look at it right here. Um, oh, where did that go? There we go.
It's all gone wrong.
I don't even know where. Okay, I'll go up here. So 70, 74. Nice. That's a great little trade. 74.68. Very good. So I think this is so great. I feel like the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar are going to continue going down. We're coming off the top of this channel. We have nothing but long wicks on this weekly chart. So I am still very. You'll be taken out of your trades, or you'll be closing out of your trades before the news.
As I said, I can't cope with the
with
I can't because it really worried me because I had my stop loss above the highs and it came back pretty close. It got pretty close.
So you'll close those trades. You make a nice little profit, and that'll be great because this is a great looking setup. And I think if the news comes out and causes any upward spike, I want to sell any rallies on this thing. I can't shake that old fashioned feeling that that these highs here of about 77.50 are just gonna. I just feel like those are gonna hold at least for the moment. And any amount of getting in close to 77.50, which is just this little spike on the 1 hour chart or thereabouts. There's a couple of attempts I think back there, right around that area, 77, 30, 40, 50. Any attempts up there, I want to just short against those highs. If we take out this weekly pivot, we get up to 7,600, 7,700. I want to look for any opportunity to sell Aussie dollar, any opportunity to sell this. But I would like to see 100 pips of movement up. Employment and job numbers, don't get excited, as I feel the Aussie will continue flat. It's possible, yeah, it's very possible, Vince. If it does spike up, though, let's be prepared. I'm not going to put any pending orders, of course. And when it happens, it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning for me, so I'm going to have to see the aftermath. But I'll try to get up in the middle of the night and check things. But if that makes a run up 100, 150 pips, I'm going to do my best to get in at a clean entry. So Aussie dollar, that's just kind of a quick little reminder. And that's a reminder that you shouldn't drink and drive because...
Quick, let's pack up. They're closing in.
We're going to pause this session for a second. They're closing in.
Relocate.
How did they find me here? Darn trackers. So Aussie dollar looks good. What are you thinking? What are you thinking on New Zealand dollar? I feel very strongly of the glory of New Zealand dollar, US dollar. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, well, I'm obviously short, as you know.
You're in this.
I'm in this, yeah, short. And yeah, a bit worried. Do you think the Aussie news might affect? I find that happens. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like maybe more like interest rate news kind of can trickle over. Employment, I've never. I don't know. It doesn't stand out. I can't say for certain, but it doesn't stand out in memory as New Zealand dollar moving a lot with Australian employment. Although it could. I always have to put that out there. But I don't know. I don't feel too worried that that's going to be an issue.
Let's see what I wrote down for the. Just because of the tweezers on the daily I got in. So
yeah, we got a nice little double top on that 4 hour. Daily just came beautifully off the top of that channel.
Yeah, and that's where I got in off the second candle. Sorry, the first candle after the tweezer top. That's where I entered.
That's glorious. That's such a good entry. That's so nice.
And as we talked about yesterday, top of the channel, tweezers, confirmation. So it just all added up for me. My stochastic looked okay. So yeah, I just put as we were saying yesterday, put all the pieces together, puzzle, got the picture, and then shorted it. So.
Yeah, this one, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You said pretty much at all the circles you were buying and selling.
Yes,
which is so great. Good grief, man.
Well, that's because awesome. You've circled them. So when you go, look at, then I sell them or buy them. So, and some of them were
a lot of pressure on you. What if my circles are in bad places?
But some of them were glorious, and and as we said yesterday, I'm a bigger fan of trading a range or trading a channel than a breakout.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like a breakout, but I need a confirmed close or a retest, and then
I feel like in these markets of the last year or so, I've been less excited about breakouts. It's basically been exactly the last year. I feel like the last half of last year and certainly the first half of this year, breakouts have been a lot less exciting. They happen, but you need a retest and you need consolidation. You need a lot of confirmation instead of just break and run.
Yeah, I've been stung more times than not. As it breaks out, you think, oh, here we go. You get in, and then it just leaves a big, massive wick. You've hit your stop loss,
Yep.
and then it does exactly what you've shown on here, and it goes all the way back down to the bottom of the channel, and you're like, really?
Yeah,
You know,
oh, that was
that was
excellent.
I could have, as you said, waited for the confirmation around. And again, I think for me, it's down to patience. I think I've got a lot more patience now, so I can wait. And if it does break out, then there's always opportunities to get in that
Yeah.
breakout.
Yeah, pullbacks are
But,
always great. Nice little retest. I love
and you're
when
good at catching them, so you tell us about.
yeah, we can track down those little breakouts pretty nicely. When we have a break of any level, just like for example this level. If anybody missed this, if anybody's not in New Zealand dollar, it broke out, right? We broke out of the rising wedge. Yeah. But look what it's doing, and look what we're going to have another opportunity for. It's pulling back. If we get another retest of that channel, and then it starts coming down,
Really?
all we do, we just, I just hate to sound like such a broken record, but draw a trend line, and if it holds below that channel and breaks that trend line, that is a very high probability. The trend's in our favor. I can't identify what that is. Is that the bomberos, like the firemen out here? Like
I have no idea what that is.
Is that a duck? It's some sort of thing. It's driving pretty slow too. Usually they're kind of speeding past. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
We're making some progress. So yeah, I feel like this is a nice setup. I definitely like this one. I think we've got some good. There we go. Tom short 74.53, good. And Mike, New Zealand has news. GDP might move some. Yeah, for sure. New Zealand has given me 190 pips in the last 5 days. Good, Tom. Good. Yeah, this one's been great. It's come off that area. It's done so well. And I think this is going to be our next fantastic opportunity. Is just pull back, retest that trend line, or retest that wedge, and then break a little short-term trend line. If it doesn't give us a lot of pullback, a lot of retracement, we know what the big picture is here. And and if we have to look at it on a little bit more of a, just move that there. We got to look at it on a little bit more of an aggressive type trend line. I'm pretty okay with that as well. It's hit the weekly pivot and the dailies. It's got one daily left, so I'm actually less optimistic of this one making a big pullback as opposed to just
I do love a pivot. I'm not a massive fan of missed pivots, as in when you've had a few, but I do like how they always do gravitate during the period of the current pivot. So.
Yep. And this one has done like a fantastic. It's just hit every pivot in here. It's taken that pivot out. So yeah, I will be looking for some trendline activity, and and again, I think we've got plenty of opportunity to take this down into the 70 level or thereabouts. So New Zealand dollar looks good. Hopefully we'll get some retracement there. Aussie dollar. Hopefully after the news, I'm doing nothing until the news, and then if we get some spikes up here, I'll be looking for opportunities to short this. We talked about Euro Yen. Who's kind of excited? Oh,
yeah, my chart alarm went off this morning on the Euro Yen.
Yeah, as did mine. And
that's not the most bullish candle ever, though.
Yeah, it's looking a little less convinced.
There's still an hour or so left on it, so. so
we got some time. I'm pretty curious to see. Maybe where this daily candle closes. A 4-hour candle will probably be good enough for me. And let's see, has a 1 hour even closed above this thing? Oh yeah, so 1 hour close, big pullback, which is totally fine there. So I'm gonna watch like the 4-hour and the daily and see where these guys close, because again euro pairs are a little bit on the slow moving right now. So even though this is a yen, it's euro yen, and so I don't know how much this is moving, how quickly it's moving. So I'm gonna just kind of see. I'm gonna watch this get out of the channel as we're talking patience.
My trade is from the daily chart, so it will be a daily close above for me.
Good.
After that, I may drop down to the 4-hour to get an entry, and then my target, as we discussed yesterday, would be the 200 EMA on the daily. Because I assume we're pretty good on the bar count now. So
I forgot. I've already forgotten the bar count here, but I feel like it's pretty decent. 230, 232 for a daily candle or a daily chart. It's pretty excellent. So yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. So we'll keep an eye on this. This is heavily on the watch list. We'll watch this for a break and and some closes above. But I think that's totally great. I love Euro Yen. So basically, as kind of a recap, here's a reminder: Euro CAD. Euro CAD is bouncing around a little bit. We can close all positions at probably 147.30 without too much of a struggle. You can close your earliest position at 147.30 and see if we get a break, or you can just take everything, or you can let everything run. I'm gonna close. We've got so many options here. This is 31 flavors, folks. So
thanks for being very decisive there.
For a non-committal person like myself, I like to make sure I've got an escape plan a few times here. But I'm gonna close. I'm gonna close my 147.30 entry. Hopefully, at least with a few pips profit, 3 or 4 or 5 pips, and then see if I can let the bigger one run and get a breakout. But we can always just close everything there. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Let's watch this pretty closely. I like this move down. We've taken out a lot of pivots. Watch this short-term trend line. And if this thing just kind of bumps up, which it probably will, and does some of that, look for that break and that entry at the break. This is a 15-minute chart. So look at the break of that short-term trend line there. And there we go. All right. I'm gonna just move there. There it is. Okay. Never figure out how to get those out of the way close and not quick enough. Just getting love from Mama. So we'll look for that. We'll look for that little move there, and then not doing anything on Australia till later. And then just one little quick reminder: pound dollar. If we start to see any kind of crazy pound dollar movement, so here is one thing that remember we talked about this yesterday. I said if it holds this channel and kind of gives us a break, we'll go for it. And obviously, it just kind of continued dipping down. But we had I think when we were talking yesterday, we're on a 1-hour chart, so we had some missed pivots still, and I think we've still got like a week something down here. I don't know. We had something cooking down there, so we've taken out a few more pivots. It's looking a little more ready to make a move. So I'm kind of resorting to this slightly larger trend line here. If it holds all this decently well, I guess was it the monthly? Yeah, it was the monthly and daily pivot that's still down here at 130, 125. So maybe he wants to take those out. I'm going to watch this larger channel. When we get up above that trend line, I think that's going to be probably a decent sign for some movement up. It's been the pound dollar's done a good job at running up, pulling back, running up, pulling back, running up. So I think there should be a pretty easy 100 pips in that movement, if not much more. So still pretty sideways overall, but I think there's hopefully some good movement there. But I would say all my focus right now is just getting some bucks on Euro CAD and trying to throw some additional entries there on the New Zealand dollar, or get first-time entries if you haven't had any yet. Yeah, right. We've definitely discussed pullbacks. We have talked about it, but
normally when I'm in a short position, you want it to pull it back. So normally you talk about it.
Every time Simon's like 50 pips up, I'm like, if this could just pull back 55 pips,
and then it does.
And it does.
Very annoying.
Oh, it's horrible. But I think that's it for me. I don't have anything else I'm looking for. Anything else you're looking for?
No. I was in USD yen.
Oh, that's right.
I'm in long. I have a harmonic pattern on there, as I do like my bat and butterfly patterns.
You get some bat and butterfly. Plus, it's making a decent. It's making a pretty decent little break of this channel. This is a pretty. How far does this channel go back? Till it goes back several months anyway. And you got a nice harmonic here.
The harmonic is from the spike down in the middle of June.
This little guy here?
Yeah, and then it goes, it's off the 4-hour chart, but it goes up and then obviously, down as a harmonic does. And then it consolidated around 100, and then that's where I got in, and now it popped all the way up and then and then again, patience came all the way back down again, got me worried, and now it's back going back. So I will probably get out as it hits the highs, just because it's been a bit of a nail biter. Yeah, a bit of a nail biter again for me. I think the markets recently have been a bit of a nail biter.
Nothing wants to go more than, if you can hang in there, some will go 200 or 300 pips, and most of it's 100 pip swings up and down. It seems like. So
yeah, well, this summer's been interesting. June was all right. July was awful. August, first 2 weeks were awful. Last 2 weeks were amazing.
Yeah, we had some good love in August. That was
yeah,
for sure.
So
things are moving. We're getting a little bit more movement now, but then last week was really good. This week has been good, but slower.
Yeah, slower.
So yeah, it'd be nice to get a little bit of bigger, better movement there for sure. I wouldn't hate that. So Euro pound rising wedge. Well, we're looking at Euro pound for a head and shoulders, and head and shoulders always have a rising or falling wedge to start. And this one, so if that was our right shoulder, we may end up with a bit of a different right shoulder here, and we can always, if that makes its way higher, this is what I call the eraser. Yeah, we can just kind of do that. But Tom, are you talking about this guy like here, like that kind of a rising wedge? Is that a rising wedge? We have some. Yeah, there's some short-term activity in the works right there. I don't know if that's the one you're referring to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. I'm definitely interested in seeing this thing confirm a little bit more, a little bit better for us. Rising wedge would be good if this can test the channel. Maybe we've got 2 points on either side there. If we can test that channel, maybe one more time on each, I would feel better about that. And let's see, do we have a missed? We've got a missed weekly pivot here still, which could run us maybe into the top of the channel. Maybe it's trying to gun for that just a little bit. So yeah, it's not a bad looking rising wedge. That'll be worth keeping an eye on. And then ultimately this big neckline break, and then getting some of those bigger movements. But if this is our bigger kind of head and shoulders pattern, we have something like that, and then something like that, and then and then we maybe take it up into something like that, and then have a nice little clean move. I'd be super interested in that. So maybe this rising wedge is that final move for that right shoulder. But yeah, I'll watch that. I'll keep an eye on that for sure. Okay, guys, anything else? Anybody, anything else? Upper trend line from 714 on today's highs. Okay, all right, looks good. Anything else, guys? What else are you guys looking at? We've talked about Euro CAD being immediate, New Zealand dollar being the next most immediate, Aussie later on today. I think pound. For me, most pound pairs are probably are possibly like next week. I feel like pound pairs might still be next week for me. I don't know if they're super up there. Vince. Vince, did you? Let's see here. If you get a chance, have a peep Aussies. Oh, Vince, are you speaking my lingo? Aussie Swiss 15-minute 3 missed pivots over 400 bar. How did I? Oh yeah, New Zealand. We'll talk about New Zealand CAD too. Aussie Swiss. Vince.
Oh, good.
Are
good catch.
Are you keeping us honest here? Because I love that. I love that so much. That's looking good. We do well. Let's see here. What are we looking at on this guy? Aussie Swiss. Now, okay, did you say Aussie Swiss? To make sure I'm not...
Good memory skills, exactly.
It's been 34 seconds since I looked at that. There it is. Okay, so Aussie Swiss. So I don't have 3 missed pivots. I've got, well, let's see. Do we have... No, I've just got 2. We've got 2 pivots, and I've got 350 bars on the 15-minute chart. So that one is. What do you have? Do you have different numbers?
I just clicking on the wrong thing.
Yeah. Do we have? Because so that one got hit pretty hard for me, that pivot point. But 350 bars is totally great, and if this keeps moving down and we start hitting that 400 bar count, I'm pretty excited about that one. So, and the charts crash. So yeah.
There we go.
Go back to that. Trading view, if you're watching.
Oh,
There's a
15
bug in there,
minutes.
I think.
Oh yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. This I've got 350 bars. Average is 129. 97%. Average pip is 30. Max pip 174. It's at 92.
Yeah, so this
It's,
thing's getting into interesting zone, I would say. I don't know.
I
I
don't think
think
I've ever traded the Aussie Swiss before, actually.
I have traded it about 2 times,
Have you?
and it's but the Aussie Swiss isn't a horrific trender, which is kind of nice. So the that's kind of a plus for our reversal 15-minute trades. So that's good. It's made a nice little breakout. That 15-minute chart could cause a nice retest of that big 4-hour trend line, so that's good. And yeah, if this can keep moving away, I'll take this trade all day long. I'll take any 15-minute chart trade, really, to be honest. So I don't discriminate. I will take this and run with it. So that's a goodie right there. It's had a nice little break and it's making a move lower, which is awesome. So I would like this, being kind of at the 350 bar count. Maybe looking for these lows, 72, 50 might get us, another 50 pips lower, get that pip count a little bit better, get our bar count a little bit better. Yeah,
Well, again, after the news, that might be an excellent trade. If it's
Oh yeah, we've got Aussie news. So if Aussie, chances are Aussie news will spike it up and touch that, and just take out
probably.
that moving average. But if Aussie news doesn't, if it spikes it down, if it spikes it towards Aussie weakness, I'll buy the heck out of this. I'll be watching that. Good catch, Vince.
Yeah, it's a good catch.
Good catch.
But both of us here, we still didn't even see that.
Jeez, man. I look for these things religiously until I hit about 3 pairs. I'm like, okay, I think I've done my work here. So I sent out an email after we talked about this. I sent out an email about this, and in the email, you have to look at the email, Simon. I credited Simon towards this because this was.
Don't normally look at your emails.
Jared, delete. So just another spam, get more spam. New Zealand cat, I love. I think it's great. I think that 69.50 is a pretty excellent double top. Anything above that, I would start getting a little worried. Or excuse me, 96.50. Dyslexia. What a pain it is. So 96.50. Anything above that, I don't want to. I probably don't want to try to be too short. I would still look for an open and maybe a close above that level, but otherwise, I think this is great. I think this is so excellent. I love that topping out there, and I think we've got some good opportunities. Plus, it's pulled back to when we were talking about it yesterday. It was up at like 95.85, and we're at 95.70 and change. So I think this is great. I will be adding any kind of positions against that 96.50 level and putting some trades on. They're both a little bit choppy, but I think those are awesome. Good work, guys. Good stuff.
Thanks. Yep.
Simon, anything else you want to say?
Nope. I'm
okay.
all
So
good.
in recap, we're just going to cover every pair that we just talked about. Okay. No, Scott, what in the world are you doing up? It's like 3:00 in the morning for you, I think, give or take. It's good to see you. Glad you're on with us. Scott's a pretty energetic guy. I don't feel like he sleeps a lot, so 3 a.m. No problem. No problem.
Like Chris, never sleeps.
Yeah, Chris is up about 23/7, I think. So he gets an hour in there. Power nap.
He's always on Telegram. Like Chris, when he's always awake.
I know. I would be on Telegram more, but this Wi-Fi in this Barcelona, they need to really pick it up. These tall buildings don't give us. But no, good stuff, guys. Excellent everything. Simon, good input, you guys. Mike on New Zealand CAD, thanks for bringing that up, and Tom on Euro Pound. Vince on
Aussie Chef.
Aussie Chef, that's good. From the active trade tab. Oh yeah, so I can go over that real quick. Of course. Whoops. So this is Chris and I talked a little bit about this. Oops, there we go. So he wants to just be buying some dips on this pending orders. There's pending order details with stops, kind of looking for that longer term movement, looking for this support zone to hold. And so just it's just it's just kind of a buying a dip kind of a scenario, looking for 149.50 and 14900. What I think we're trying to accomplish here is it's made some dips. We've got a few missed pivots down there, but the bigger picture on this one is is this right here. We're breaking out of this pretty massive channel, and we've got a nice inverse head and shoulders pattern. So that's basically what we're trying to do is just get a piece of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which I think is great. It's gonna. I think it might be a little bit tricky to get into. I like the entries Chris has. I think those are good. And so, as long as it just gives us some decent pullback, we've pretty perfectly. I mean, look at that price projection we talked about. This movement here to that movement there. I mean, look at that. Wow. It hit it basically to the pip, and it started to retrace. So that worked out perfectly. So any dips and any entries against this 140, basically about 14900, look awesome. I think this is such a good.
I'm a massive fan of measuring head and shoulders, flags, symmetry. They're such good targets.
It's so incredibly ridiculously reliable that it's insane. And I mean, this is just another perfect example. It hit it perfectly and is pulled back perfectly. So this is a beautiful head and shoulders pattern. And and again, we've kind of hit that initial target. And if we look at the other way we measure our head and shoulders is just head to the neckline, right? And then from the breakout, which we've had right here, and so that gives us a target of 150, basically 153.95, 15400 as a target. So I love this trade. I think this is totally fantastic. Chart is out of date with price. Oh yeah, okay. Well, we can probably we probably need to update that from yesterday. So it'll be updated in the next couple of hours, but it's not right at the entry anyways. So yeah, that'll be okay. We'll get that updated. Okay, anything else, guys? Anything else?
Nope.
That's it for me. We'll call it good. So usually when the jackhammering starts is when my session ends. But thanks, guys. Great to have you all on with us. Very nice to see you all. Happy
Hanukkah.
That's a safe bet because I don't know what the day today is. So happy something. But great to be with you guys. Let's make some money on this Euro CAD. Let's see if we can get some New Zealand dollar additional entries, and we'll just watch the rest of these. We have some, I would say we have some amazing setups in the works. We recorded this whole session, so we're going to, I'll post this for everybody to watch and have a look at. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being on. Good to see everyone. Happy Wednesday.
Thanks,
y'all.